Hello and welcome to CX Today. My name is Charlie. I am the head of publication here, and I'm thrilled today to bring you an introduction into Pulse 360 by Cyara, a prominent solution deployed in many enterprise contact centers. And who better to join me for that conversation than Janet Vito, the SVP of marketing at Cyara. Janet, thanks very much for joining me. How are you doing today?
Doing wonderful, Charlie. Thanks so much for having me on your show.
Absolutely. It's really great to speak with you today, especially about such a contact center innovation that maybe doesn't that we don't talk about often enough. But before we kind of get into the nuts and bolts of that innovation, I don't know if you could just start by giving me a quick intro into Cyara and what exactly Pulse 360 does.
Sure. So if you're not familiar with Cyara, we're the world's leading AI-led customer experience, productivity, growth, and assurance platform. So we help global enterprises proactively test, monitor, and optimize their customer journeys across voice, digital, and AI channels. So imagine you're calling your bank and because you need a question answered and it doesn't go so well, right? That's where Cyara comes in. We're that customer experience safety net, so to speak, that behind the scenes, always testing, monitoring, and helping you fix your contact center, your chatbot, your AI assistant before your customers really notice something's off. We work with some of the world's leading brands like Microsoft, Google, Apple, Salesforce, Bank of America, health insurance companies, airlines, you name it. Really just wanting to make that, hello, how can I help you, actually help. And then with Pulse 360 specifically, so that is a CX Assurance engine that helps businesses deliver that seamless, frustration-free experience while reducing operational risk. Now, what it does is it continuously monitors the customer journey across all those communication channels. And really the best way to talk about it is, by the problem that it solves. So we've all had that customer experience. We've called into the bank or got on the app with our health insurance, and we're trying to get a question answered or a problem resolved. We might text, you name it. But how does the company's communication channels, their RVRs or email, all of that, how does that work? If I call, is the carrier down in my region? Is the phone line quality all crackly? Is my IVR delivering those responses timely, right? If it's 10 seconds before the IVR responds, I'm just going to hang up, right? So traditionally, monitoring the entire customer journey across all those channels has been very difficult because typically those channels within these enterprise organizations are siloed. And many teams use those disconnected, tools for CRM, chat, etc. When it fails, a lot of times you don't even know it, right? It's a silent customer that just hangs up or stops chatting. And then when you find out about it, it might be on social media, right? So without this real-time, monitoring, continuous monitoring, in-country visibility, it can really damage, brand reputation. So it's really where Pulse 360 comes in. It's an end-to-end visibility across all those touch points, provides proactive detection that flags friction before it can really, hurt your CSAT, scalable global coverage that ensures consistency across every market, and real-time actionable insights to help you fix those issues fast. So that's basically what it does.
Yeah, that was a really great intro. Thanks for that, Janet. And it really strikes me as this is kind of a very comprehensive platform. I mean, there's maybe a lot of vendors that do parts of what you've just said in terms of monitoring specific channels or just the IVR or things like that. But I can only maybe think of one or two maybe other companies that can offer something similar to that. But so I don't know if you could maybe express sort of what really helps to make Cyara unique.
Sure. So, as I mentioned, pretty much all the other monitoring solutions out there focus on one area, like voice, for example. And really it's, Pulse 360 is more than just monitoring. So not only can it monitor across all those channels, however your customers contact you, but it gives you that complete end-to-end view of your customer experience performance. It also, the second thing that makes it unique is the real world monitoring experience. So it's not just uptime. It is, we replicate that actual customer experience with in-country dialing. So we have physical points of presence in over 120 countries across the globe. And so we can actually run tests where maybe your customer is calling from Brazil and make that call from Brazil through the carrier that they would be making it from to really test it. And then last but not the least, that makes Pulse 360 unique is the proactive, not reactive nature of the alerting. So you'll be proactively alerted on issues before they really significantly impact your customers. And as I mentioned, providing you guidance on how to resolve those issues quickly.
Yeah, and I thought that was a really interesting couple of examples in there. I don't know if you could maybe share one or two others around how Pulse 360 is delivering sort of real-time customer experience monitoring across voice and digital.
Sure. So, typically, like I said, a lot of enterprise companies, they rely on multiple maybe CCaaS systems or UCaaS platforms. And so there's all these different systems that they're integrating to create that customer experience, to make sure that they can, however their customer is reaching them, they are responding appropriately and getting the answers that they need. So Pulse 360, first of all, eliminates those gaps by monitoring the entire ecosystem. So you always know what's happening. So for example, we have customers say, well, I have a CCaaS platform. Aren't they monitoring? Isn't that platform monitoring the experience? Well, they are within the platform, within the confines of that platform. But Cyara Solutions and Pulse 360 as well complements those CCaaS platforms by really continuously testing and monitoring the whole end-to-end from the customer experience to the agent. And our solutions are platform agnostic. They work with all the major CCaaS and UCaaS providers. And last, most monitoring solutions stop at sending you an alert when something's wrong. So not only does Pulse 360 notify you, but it provides this clear diagnostics and actionable insights to help you fix that problem faster. And ultimately, that helps you reduce your outages, minimize risk, get your problem solved quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, lots of really good stuff there. And it is particularly true, like especially with larger enterprises, they may have one CCaaS solution in one location, another in another. And a lot of contact centers will use maybe 10, 11, 12 even different types of software. So making sure you have assurance across all of those is a vital consideration. It does strike me also that another of Cyara's differentiators is in its global coverage. I don't know if you could maybe speak to that a little bit more and how that helps to enhance the customer experience insurance.
Sure. So I'll give you a great example. So we have a lot of customers that have, a number of global toll-free numbers. A good example is Microsoft. They have hundreds and hundreds of global toll-free numbers. And, one of the use cases that they use with us is really that testing and monitoring of all of those numbers in all those regions. And so, it's one thing, other solutions might simulate, what that in-country experience is, but it's not the same because you have to the physical points of presence with the carriers. So a region could have 3 or 4 different carriers. And so you can even go in and say, okay, I want to test these 2 carriers out of the 4 carriers and really ensure that of the real routing, the real carrier, handoffs, the real time, real last mile connectivity. And so, this makes our solution unique, so it helps you detect that latency and lag time. You could have carrier specific degradations, as I mentioned, or regional local interruptions. I mean, there's nothing like, finding out one of your global toll-free numbers has been down for 24 hours, because you weren't testing and monitoring, because you may not know.
Yeah, and again, I think lots of interesting stuff there. And I think what really sticks out to me is just the size of the customers that you're talking about as well, like Microsoft in the example there, mentioned Salesforce and a few others, big enterprises earlier. And it does kind of speak that these big tech providers are choosing to assure their platform with Pulse 360. Just a sort of final question for our viewers. I don't know if there's anything else that really stands out for you within the Pulse 360 platform that you think they should know about.
Sure. So maybe I'll touch on a little bit how AI plays a role. One of the biggest areas is AI-driven analytics for what we call intelligent insights. So that combined with real-time anomaly detection. So think of the analytics as an easy-to-use self-service BI tool, no code, We have pre-built dashboards. You can customize your dashboards. And then the, real-time anomaly detection is really helping you reduce false positives and really drive that incident correlation to pinpoint the root cause. So that's just another area where Pulse 360 sets itself apart. I think another thing to that I'd touch on is, we have another customer, AT&T. A lot of times customers come to us, they're either doing some manual testing, maybe they built something homegrown, and it's a combination. But like AT&T, for example, they were able to cut their testing time by over 90% because they started using our solution. So there's just other areas where customers can really benefit.
Absolutely, and I'm sure there's lots more to learn about the solution. But I think that's maybe the best place to end today's chat. I will say for anybody watching who wants to find out more, I'll put a link to Cyara's website in the description, so you can go and find out more there. But as I said, it's a great place to end it. So thanks very much, Janet, for today's conversation.
Thank you, Charlie.
And also thanks to everybody for watching. Bye for now.